Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my recap of my 8 brands that I want to try in 2018. So basically today I'm going to recap the 8 brands that I was interested in trying in 2018. I did actually end up trying all 8 brands. One brand in particular I just picked up a palette from, otherwise it would have only been 7. But if you guys missed the introduction or my mid-year check-in, I will leave the playlist link down below. I also did just post my 8 skincare brands I want to try in 2018 recap. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, I'll have all those videos linked for you guys down below as well. This video was inspired by Samantha March. She started this tag I think in 2017, and I know she's already started her 2019. So I will leave her channel and her videos linked down below for you guys as well. But if you're interested in hearing about the 8 brands that I ended up getting to try in 2018, then just keep watching. Ooh, I feel a sore throat coming on, which really worries me. So I'm just sipping some tea. So I mentioned this in my introduction, but I wanted to split it up between 4 high-end brands as well as 4 more affordable or drugstore brands. So the first brand is a more affordable brand, and that brand is Milani, and I actually tried a ton from Milani this year. 3 of the products that I tried I actually don't even have with me anymore. I've decluttered them or used it up. One is the Milani Make It Last Setting Spray, which was okay, but it was super heavily fragranced and not one that I want to repurchase. I also tried their Hypnotic Lights lip topper in shade number 4, which was just way too sparkly and gritty for my personal liking, so I ended up decluttering that. And then what is the Milani foundation just wasn't the right shade for me, but I actually did really enjoy the foundation. Very full coverage, and definitely one that I want to pick my shade up and try again. So then I have a ton more from Milani in front of me that I've tried as well. So first we have the Milani Baked Bronzer in the shade 4 Glow, which I actually really enjoyed this bronzer. It's very, you're not even going to be able to see it swatched. It's very almost sheer and just gives a nice shimmery sheen to the cheeks. I really like to use this paired with a BB cream in the summertime just to give me a sun-kissed glow, but nothing too over the top. This isn't something that I feel this isn't something that I'm going to use in the wintertime. Obviously it's not a matte bronzer, and I just feel this is more suited on days that you're going for more of a no makeup type of look, or a lighter bronzer type of day, or you could pop this over a bronzer just to maybe give it more of a glow. So it's not my favorite bronzer by any means, but I definitely have a place for it in my makeup collection, and I really enjoy this bronzer. Then I have the Milani Prep Set and Glow Setting Powder. This is a pressed powder. I didn't get much use out of this just because I was trying to use other powders in my collection, but I've used this a couple of times and I don't have really anything negative to say about it. And I also don't really have, I don't have an opinion either way. I've probably used this 3 times. I'd be interested to see how it would brighten up underneath the eyes. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it, so it's not totally matte. I do really enjoy my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder, so I'd be curious to see if this is kind of a dupe for that. Again, you guys, I just have not tried this enough to really have an opinion on it, so more to come on this one, but I did pick this up from Milani as well. Then I also picked up one of their baked blushes, and I actually picked up Berry Amore. I didn't pick up Luminoso, which is kind of the cult classic. And I really enjoy this blush as well. There it is right there if you're able to see it. It's very pigmented, so you have to be, or at least I found that I have to be very careful with the amount of product that I actually pick up. It is not a matte blush, so again, a shimmery sheen type of blush. Gives a really nice flush to the cheeks, but again, this is one that I like to pull out more in the spring, summertime, not necessarily the winter time. So really enjoy this blush, but probably more so than this, I have really fallen in love with the Milani, what do they call these? It just says powder blushes. I like to call these the rose powder blushes. They look like an actual rose, and I have 2 of these. This one is in the shade Blossom Time Rose, which is my favorite of the 2. You probably won't be able to see this swatch just because it's more of a neutral nude type of blush. Has a little bit of coral pink to it, but overall it comes across as a very nice neutral sort of blush. Love this. And then I also have this one which looks super intimidating, but it's actually not. This is in the shade Coral Cove, And this is going to swatch super, super bright. Again, I only pull this one out in the summer, but if you're careful and you shear this out enough, it can give a really, really beautiful flush to the cheeks. Kind of like a after sunburn type of flush to the cheeks. So really enjoy this blush formula. Would definitely recommend these. I wouldn't not recommend the baked blushes. I just prefer the Rose Petal blush formula to the baked. 2 more products I tried from them. I tried one of their Hypnotic Lights highlighters. This is in the shade Luster Light. And for me, this was just really, really powdery. It has kind of like a peach duochrome sheen to it. Again, probably not going to see it really much, see it swatched much. I do like the coloring of it. It's just a really powdery highlight and it can emphasize texture. So I'm really selective about the times that I actually use this. Not my favorite, definitely not a formula that I would probably feel comfortable recommending. I think they have a couple other different highlights that I actually am curious to try but didn't get around to, but I did give this a go. I actually have 2 more things now. I did try one of their Hypnotic Lights, I think is what they call these. Yep, Hypnotic Lights holographic eye toppers. And this, I picked up the shade 3 Beaming Light, which is kind of like that duochrome purple blue shift, which I like, but I just don't have a use for this all the time. Like, I'm rarely doing looks where I'm going to use this, so I kind of wish I would have gone with a different shade. I prefer some of my other lid toppers to this. I definitely prefer the Stila. I prefer the Flower Beauty. So it's okay. I probably won't be picking up any more of these. I find last year I was really into the like lid toppers like this, and this year I just haven't been as much, so I won't be picking up any more of these. Not a bad product, but not one that I am like, oh my gosh, you have to have this in your collection. And then the last product is one of the Milani palettes that they came out with this year. This is in Bold Obsessions. So this retails for $20, and this is a really nice eyeshadow palette, you guys. This is what it looks like. I love that it offers a good variety of neutral shades, but then it has like these beautiful shimmers and like this pop of blue that you can incorporate if you want to go for a little bit more of a bold look. It is a really nice high quality formula, especially for the drugstore. I believe I paid $15 for this. I got it at Walmart at a little bit of a discount. I know normally they retail again for $20. I found the shimmers to perform pretty well. There's some that perform better than others. I feel like these 2 center shades perform really well. This needs a little bit of building up, but overall I do really like this palette, and I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a palette that's a little less costly but still going to be a good formula, definitely check out the Milani Bold Obsessions or any of their, I think they're all Obsessions palettes, I think. Next brand was a high-end brand that I wanted to try, and I had actually tried one product from this brand prior to this, not project, but prior to this. This is the Balm Cosmetics, and prior to 2018, I had tried Mary Lou Luminizer, which I really do like this highlight. I didn't get much use out of this year, and I'm kind of disappointed in that. I definitely want to pull this out more in 2019 because this is just a beautiful, beautiful champagne highlight. I forget how beautiful this is. I'm going to pull this out and just put it in my everyday vanity right behind me so that I remember to use this because, gosh, I do love this highlight. But I was able to try a couple more things from the Balm this year. I picked up Balm Desert, which is a bronzer. This works more for me when I have a little bit more color to my skin, so I use this more in the spring, summertime. It is a matte bronzer. I do really like the shade. I sometimes use this more to contour rather than to bronze up the skin just because it has more of like a cool tone. It's more cool toned, but really did enjoy this. Happy with this purchase. And then I also picked up the Balm Springs Blush by the Balm, which I really have been enjoying. I love this color. I think it's such a beautiful neutral shade. I really want to try some of their Insta Stain blushes. I've heard really good things about that too, but also really happy with this purchase. And then in my Tribe Beauty box last month, I got the Meet Match Maker palette, which is also by the Balm. I've used this a couple of times as well, and I like this palette. It's not earth-shattering, mind-blowing, like go get it right now, but I do really like the layout. I think it's really fun. You have a matte shade paired with a shimmer shade. You have 12 total shades, and they do perform pretty well. Some blend out easier than others, and I will say that I feel like these shimmers do take some building up. They work better with a wet brush. that's fine as long as you're okay with that. Really excited that I got to try this out. This is definitely one that I'll hang on to in my collection. Not my favorite palette, but still a good palette, and I was really excited to try these products from the Balm this year. Next up was another drugstore brand. I really wanted to try Catrice Cosmetics, and I'm happy to announce I did get to try 2 products from Catrice. I did try the Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer, and I gotta say, I really like this concealer. The only thing I'll say about it is I feel like you go through it super quickly, which is random. You get 0.16 fluid ounces, which actually maybe that is little for a concealer, but I feel like I go through this really quickly, and I go through other concealers, like it takes me forever to get through them. So really enjoy this. I would definitely repurchase this again. I also tried the Catrice Dewy Setting Spray, which is in the pink bottle. It's in my car right now, and I'm too lazy to go grab it. I also really love that setting spray, and I definitely plan to pick another one up when I finish that. That'll definitely be a repurchase for me. I did want to try more from Catrice. Catrice is one of those brands that I almost purchased so many things from this year, but I just kept holding myself back because every time I felt like I was gonna buy from them, I felt like I was just buying to buy, and there was nothing that was like super pulling me in to purchase except for the 2 items that I have purchased. So if you guys have any recommendations for Catrice products that you love, definitely leave me a comment below, because it's another brand that I just like, I'm gonna have my eye on it going forward. I've heard good things about some of their mascaras, but other than that, there's nothing that's just like super drawn me in, but I'm definitely interested in hearing your guys' recommendations and making some purchases based on those. My next high-end brand was Coloured Raine, and what is super funny about this is Coloured Raine was probably the brand that I was most excited to try in 2018, because I almost purchased the Queen of Hearts palette so many times in 2017. So I was certain that I was going to try Coloured Raine like super early in the year, and I actually just purchased the Queen of Hearts palette during Cyber Monday. I believe I got this at 30% off. I'm so sad it took me so long to buy this, because I've only created one look with this, you guys, but I am honestly blown away by all of the shades in this. The mattes perform really nicely, at least the ones that I've used so far. I've used these 2 as well as this one. These swatch really nicely, and oh my goodness, these shimmers swatch so beautifully and so incredible. I also have used this shade on my lid. You do not need to build this up. You do not need to use a wet brush with this to get some serious payoff. So I am so excited that I finally have this in my collection. I'm just a little disappointed in myself that it took me this long to actually purchase from Coloured Raine. I have tried the Coloured Raine liquid lipsticks. I believe I tried those in 2017. And it was like an okay formula, not my favorite, definitely not my least favorite by any means. If there were shades out there that I really was interested in that I felt like I couldn't get in a formula that I liked better, I would definitely purchase from them. But outside of that, I am super impressed with their eyeshadow quality, and definitely interested in trying more from Coloured Raine going forward. Okay, my next drugstore brand, if you will, I have a ton from, and I actually did like a full face using Flower Beauty. Flower Beauty is the brand. So I have quite a few items to go through with you guys. I'll also try and leave a link for that Flower Beauty video down below. There were some hits, there were some misses from that. So I'm just going to really briefly talk about all these, but again, I mentioned them for the most part in that video. So first we have the Light Illusion Foundation. I hate this foundation. It is way too dewy, way too luminous for me. I've tried setting it, I have tried it with different primers, and I just can't get this to look flattering on my skin. I know some people really do enjoy this foundation, but for me this is a no-go, and I will be decluttering this from my makeup collection eventually. I feel like every time I'm ready to finally declutter this, I like want to give it one more try, but I've just never been able to make it look good on my skin. So this is a skip for me. Next, I have the Light Illusion Concealer. This is okay in my opinion. Definitely won't be a repurchase for me. This is one I feel like also needs to be set. It's just very, very hydrating, very luminous. So if that's something that you are really looking for in a concealer, you may like this. But for me personally, it's just not my favorite. So this would probably be a skip for me as well. I also have the Flower In Your Prime Illuminating Primer. Now this I actually do really like. I feel like it falls in between like super natural illuminator and artificial. Like it just falls in between. Like there are some illuminating primers that are so artificial looking, you literally look like the Tin Man. I know, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. And this isn't quite that bad, but you still can tell like there's like that sort of like I don't know, like that fake sort of look to it, but I like this. I really like to pair this with my more matte foundations to give me more of a glow underneath the skin, and this is one that I definitely would consider repurchasing when I finish this. I also am interested to try their hydrating primer. I wanted to try that when I picked this one up, but all the hydrating primers that I saw when I purchased this looked like they had been tampered with. So I went with the illuminating one, and I'm not disappointed. I do like this. I would recommend this if you like illuminating primers. I think it's good. I don't necessarily know how I feel about whether or not it truly affects the longevity of my makeup wear. I feel like I'm like really bad at gauging that. So I can't really speak to that, but I did really enjoy this primer and I would recommend this. The product that I would recommend is the Flower Beauty Flower Pots Powder Blushes. So I originally picked up this shade, which is in Warm Hibiscus, and I use this so much in the spring and summertime. Now this definitely has a shimmery sheen to it. It almost is like a pinky corally gold, but I love this blush, you guys. This was like the only blush I used probably all of like April and May. I was obsessed with it. And then I recently picked up the shade Sweet Pea, which I feel like is more fitting for this time of year. This one is a matte blush. Really love this formula. Use this one all the time too. Flower Beauty probably has one of my favorite blush formulas, but like including drugstore and high-end. So if you guys have not checked out the Flower Beauty Flower Pots blush formula, I would definitely recommend. I also tried their Blush Bomb formula, and this was okay. This is a liquid blush, which just is not my preference for blush. If you guys are really into liquid blush, you may like this. I picked mine up in the shade Pinched, which is just a very like nude blush, so you basically can't even tell it's there. When I'm going to the gym and I just want to look like natural but still have makeup on, I'll usually do like a BB cream, toss a little bit of this on, and then do my Milk Makeup like lip stick, and I'm like good to go. So I have a very specific use for this in my makeup collection, again just because on a day-to-day basis liquid blush is not my #1 choice, but this is a good formula if you're interested in liquid blush. Another product that I really enjoyed was the Flower Beauty Petal Pout Lip Color. This is their lipstick. This is a very creamy, very hydrating lipstick formula, and I definitely am interested in choosing or picking up more shades. This is in the shade Peachy Nude. Shoot, I also forgot. I also have the liquid lipstick in Flower Beauty. I just don't have it pulled out in front of me. And I do enjoy their liquid lipsticks as well. So I think you can't go wrong with their lip products. I would probably choose their lipsticks over their liquid lipsticks, but that's just my personal preference these days. So all around their lip products I am impressed with. Next up I have the Flower Beauty Lash Warrior Mascara. This was a miss for me. Honestly, I feel like this formula is just too wet for my personal preferences. I feel like it did an okay job of like separating the lashes, but I feel like it didn't do much for lengthening and definitely nothing for volumizing. This is what the wand looks like. Yeah, just not my favorite mascara. For me, I mean, I'm always going to, like, I always feel like I can find a use for mascaras. Right now I'm using this more as my priming mascara. I use it for my lower lashes, and then this is the first mascara I go in with. Usually I'm doing some sort of mascara cocktail, so this works well as my priming mascara, but this is not one that I will repurchase and not one that I would recommend. 2 more Flower Beauty products, you guys. I tried so much from Flower Beauty. Actually 3 more. I have the Liquid Warrior Glitter Shadow, and this is in the shade Camo. I love this liquid shadow, you guys. I love the color. I love the way that it performs. This is what it looks like right there. This is one where once you set it down, it almost is like a liquid to powder formula. So you can go in with your eye look, put this on, and then I always go in and blend over top, and I just feel like it blends so seamlessly into my looks. I've really been into this. I would definitely recommend these, and I definitely am interested in picking up more shades of these, which is saying a lot because, as I said, I've been less into liquid shadows this year, but really enjoying this formula. Speaking of shadow, I also tried the Flower Beauty Shimmer and Shade eyeshadow palette. This is in Golden Neutral. Looks like this. This is mostly, or these are mostly shimmery shades. There's a couple that like, I don't know if they're like mattes or sheens. That's matte. So these 2 right here are matte. So you're limited with the amount of looks that you can create with this, but these shimmers in here, you guys, are, I hate to use the word buttery because I feel like everyone just says, oh my god, it's like butter. But these actually feel like creamy butter, and they are just like so stunning. I like haven't washed any of my swatches off my hand or fingers, so I feel like you're not getting the full effect from this. But I would honestly pick this palette up just for the shimmers. I believe it's like $16.99 for this palette, so definitely more on the pricey side for the drugstore, but I think it's worth every penny, and I've really been impressed by their the eyeshadow palette. Then the last thing I have to share with you guys is the Shimmer and Shade highlighting palette. This comes with 3 separate shades. It did come with a brush. I honestly wish it didn't come with a brush, so it was just like a little bit more smaller, a little bit more compact. Now I did enjoy this highlighting palette. It definitely provides more of like a wet looking highlight, which I like. I've actually been more into, like, that's an intense highlight. You probably can't see a thing because of my lighting that I can never figure out, but it has a very nice, again, soft, buttery sort of feel to it. But it actually on the cheeks for some reason takes a little bit of building up to get super intense, at least for me. I might be the only person out there, but this is a good palette, and especially if you're looking to like save money, if you've been eyeing like the MAC Afterglow palette, I think this performs very similarly to that. Or if you've been, again, just looking for more of a wet highlight, I think this is a good palette. It's not my favorite of all times, but I do really enjoy this, and I'm not mad that I spent the like 16 bucks to buy it. So really excited I got to try so much from Flower Beauty. I really have overall been enjoying the brand. I know, again, there have been some misses, which there's always going to be misses between brands, but yeah, that's about all I have to say about Flower Beauty. I feel like that probably took up a long amount of time, but I got to try a lot from Flower Beauty this year. Another high-end brand I wanted to try this year was actually a brush brand, and I wanted to try Smith Cosmetics. I wanted to try their brushes, and I picked up 2 of their brushes. I picked up their 230 and their 247. Both obviously are eye brushes. I've been super impressed by these brushes. They make a huge difference in my makeup application. They're so much better than my Morphe brushes. I feel like slowly I've been kind of like getting away from my Morphe brushes. I'm interested in picking up more from Smith, and I've been picking up a lot more of like Sigma. If you guys can or want to splurge on brushes, I would definitely recommend checking out Smith. They are on Beautylish now, which is amazing. That's why I decided to finally buy these. If they hadn't come to Beautylish, I probably wouldn't have purchased them because I believe they're a UK-based brand, so I didn't want to pay for like shipping and things like that. But really impressed by their brushes and their brush quality. I know mine are like super dirty. Ignore that. I'm horrible about washing my brushes, but really great quality. They blend so seamlessly, and I am so happy that I decided to, and I'm so happy that I got to pick these up. And then the last drugstore brand that I wanted to try this year and got to try was BH Cosmetics. I just picked up 1 thing from BH, no, 2. I picked up the Carly Bible palette. I don't feel like grabbing that. I didn't use that much, but the highlights in that are actually incredible. And then I also picked up the Weekend Festival palette. This is just a beautiful, colorful palette, which I'm really excited that I was able to add a colorful palette to my collection at such an affordable cost. I believe it was $18, and I gotta tell you guys, the quality on the BH, or at least this specific BH palette, was incredible. I was so impressed. The mattes are so easy to blend. The colors, the pigment payoff on the colors are like high-end quality, and you're paying $18 for 20 shadows. Like, that is crazy. What I love about this palette is it does still offer some neutrals throughout, so you can still create neutral looks, but then you also have all these different colors that you can play with. So I love this palette. This is probably one of my favorite palettes that I picked up this year. Super excited that I was able to get it. Super excited I was able to try BH Cosmetics, and I think this was the perfect thing for me to try from them. If there's other recommendations you guys have for BH Cosmetics or any of the other brands mentioned in this video, please leave them down below. I love hearing your guys' suggestions and usually make buying decisions based off of those, so definitely gotta leave me your comments. And then the last brand that I wanted to try in 2018 was Violet Voss, and I did end up picking up a palette from them. I picked up the Like a Boss palette, and I gotta say, Violet Voss is probably the brand that I've been least impressed with that I've tried. Not to say this is a bad palette. I obviously didn't return it or anything like that, and I actually really do like the color story of this. I just find that the shimmers are a little bit harder to work with. They take some building up. Using a wet brush definitely helps, but I was a little disappointed by the quality in the shimmers. The mattes are good. They blend pretty easily. I haven't had much issues with the mattes. I know a lot of you have commented and said to keep giving this a try because you guys have been super impressed or really happy with your Violet Voss palettes. So I'm definitely going to continue to play around with this and see, you know, if I can get it to work better for me. But I was just slightly disappointed by this. Not to say I won't buy anything from Violet Voss in the future, but this was probably the brand that was like least exciting for me to try in 2018. But yeah, after that, that is going to conclude all the items that I tried from the 8 brands that I wanted to try in 2018. I'm definitely going to be doing a 9 brands in 2019. I already have my list curated for the 9 brands that I want to try in 2019, and I'm really excited to share them with you guys. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so before you go. Also, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know, and I will see you guys in my next video.